Today, we're going to uncover the fascinating world of synesthesia and its role in creativity and artistry on ATP Media. We're going to gain insights into how this unique sensory experience influences the creative process with the wonderful Heather Eck. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun ride.
You got to accentuate the positive. I feel good. A little bit of feel good goes a long way.
You're listening to Karen Swain, teacher of deliberate creation, accentuating the positive, showing you a way to a better life.
Accentuating the positive, it's not just fad, it's sanity. Who in their right mind would accentuate anything else?
If you feel like that's what you want to do.
G'day, and welcome to another show, Accentuating the Positive with Karen Swain on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Networks on 107.7 and 105.3 FM syndicated radio all over the place. Where are we today? We're on Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and a million other platforms through the syndicated radio networks. And today, my guest is Heather Eck. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. It's so nice to meet you.
I love that you say tonight. So you're in Eastern time, so it's night for you. It's morning for me down under, and people all over the world. Shirley from Canada. I think it's afternoon for you, Shirley, and the gorgeous Heidi in the USA. The ladies are coming online. The luscious ladies are online. So Heather and I have had some interesting chats before the show, as you do. And it's Vladdy. Sorry, you're but he's not one of the luscious ladies. He's one of the luscious lads. Luscious lads.
Oh, I love that. There you go.
Yeah, as I said in the intro, we're going to talk about synesthesia, creativity. Heather and I have just been having a fascinating talk about that, how it dovetails with who you are as an ascending human being, an evolving human being. And how we can, get sometimes too caught up in the questioning and the logic and trying to understand the world through our questions. We were talking about all that, which we'll go over today, and what synesthesia is and how it dovetails with the creative process. Let me tell you a little bit about Heather. Heather hit the ground running when she came into this incarnation. As a young child, she was passionate about exploring the creative arts, singing, dancing, art, music, writing, as well as being super curious about love, life, and the universe and who we are as spiritual beings. Her parents called her a hippie child, saying she was born in the wrong decade, which I think is hilarious because, I feel like I was born in the hippie decade and it all sort of disappeared in the 80s. And like, what happened to the hippie era? There should be more hippies on the Today, Heather is a synesthesia artist and colour alchemist, a multidimensional abstract artist and writer, intuitive artist and painter who interprets people, places and experience through colour, a condition known as synesthesia. Like an enormous box of crayons, her gift operates by categorizing through intricate but specific shades of color. While this condition enables her to experience color, she responds to these encounters with people, things, emotion, and spaces by understanding the particular shade of experience that a person dwells in. She uses her gifts to detect the most healing color for them, to remedy their wounds, guided by the chakra system and inspired by spirituality and the mysteries of the universe. We've had a few people this year on the show talking about colour. I had the amazing Judith Collins on doing mini aura readings. She wouldn't read me. We became friends. She is an Australian who lives not far from me. So I went down and met her and I said, "Can you read my aura?" And she goes, "No, I don't read my friends." And I said to her, if I put you on the show, I don't know how you're going to do, but I did recently put her on the show. It was fascinating to see her do her thing. And then I had the gorgeous Des de Zuckerman, who's also another person that has seen people's aura and all the millions of colors in their aura. Yeah, so we've talked about color a lot on the show this year. So it's a thing, honey one. It's a thing.
Yeah. Especially, I
Heidi,
think
you go.
people are really aware of it now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Heidi says she was born in the wrong decade too. Yeah, loved that show. So did I. What's Vladdy saying here? I thought that light healing could be fun. Lighting. I thought about light healing could be fun. Yeah, absolutely. Color, because color, like sound, is the way we interpret vibration through the cones and rods in our eyes. And to me, it's all just vibration, but we're interpreting it through our different senses.
Mm-hmm.
We're interpreting life through sight and smell and hearing, and but it's all vibration, right? And color is depicting what vibration is what. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get. Yeah. No. I just thought you might respond to that.
Yeah.
So let's get into your story. Like, what was happening to you as a child to make your parents say that you were born in the wrong decade?
I think part of it was that I was really like an odd child. I was really interested in things that were not things that like a 9 or 10-year-old kid would be interested in. I'd be in the library looking for books on like mysteries of the unexplained or like the Dead Sea Scrolls and things like that. And so they were always kind of like, who are you? But I just had this natural curiosity about things like that. And so they were always kind of wondering like, what is she into? But really it all centered around art and color. And I was somebody who wanted to change the colors of my room all the time, or, like we joke, I would rearrange my room. And I think now looking back, I'm like, oh, I was rearranging the energy in the space, or I wanted to bring in different colors, help support different times in my life. And looking back now, I can recognize that. But at the time, I think my parents were exhausted by my desire to want to change everything. But I just really liked cool stuff, things that people were not all interested in.
And so what made you sort of look more into spirituality and ascension and healing, energetic healing, outside the status quo, like outside the mainstream, what the mainstream was offering you, like to become a nurse or a doctor or, an artist and stuff like that, like a gallery artist?
Yeah, I think I always had these interests as a kid. I think that art and color and spirituality was always a big part of my life. And then I remember talking to my dad one time and he was like, that's going to be really hard to get into. Maybe you should do human resources. And I was like, okay. So I went into human resources for a while. And I even remember being in college, I studied human resources, but I minored in art. And on the weekends I would do yoga and I would pick up books on chakras. I always sort of had this like innate curiosity about things and it never left me. It would just sort of hung out here in the background. And then as I got older, as I was in a career that was making me deeply unhappy and I started to feel physically ill, sort of said, this isn't what I want to be doing. I actually think I'm meant to be doing something else. And then I started to pivot back into art. And as I was working in human resources, I had a bunch of crystals and stones on my desk and people would come into my office and sit down and say, I had a really weird dream last night. Can I tell you about it? Or like, they would just kind of start. It was like I had hung an invisible sign outside of my office that was like, you can talk to me about spiritual stuff. Come on in. And so
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, hearing your story, it sounds like not like a lot of people I've had on the show, which are more my generation. They have such trauma, which really sledgehammer moments we're talking about on last week's show, in order to wake them up. But it seems like you didn't have too many sledgehammer, like you weren't hit over the head by 4B2, like death, disease, divorce, all those sort of things. You just followed your bliss, followed your passion, knowing that the corporate world. I've got to say, I've had a few people on the show who had the same story, who are your generation, because you're about 20 years younger than me. But I can really relate to your story of being the creative kid and not really being the sort of academic kid, being completely dyslexic as a kid and totally creative. It's a way that the universe is saying we need to really look at the creativity within all of us, our psychic ability, our creative abilities, and stop trying to figure everything out from the logical mind.
Yeah.
And Heidi says here, what are you saying here, Doug? I remember my mum way back in the day talking about wearing certain colours. I've always been intrigued with the power and effects of colour. Even as an office manager many years ago, I used colour in my interactions, either personal or for the company. Yeah, I think that we all have a sort of sense of it. Black is like a power colour. You know, like the fast food companies use red because red stimulates appetite. Red and yellow, I think, stimulates
Red and orange too. Yeah.
orange. Yeah. So it's always, there's, you know, marketing uses it. Anyway, what do you want to say about the power of color?
Oh, yeah. I love that, Heidi, because one of the things that's so fascinating about color to me is the way that we use color in our lives. We are attracted to color in our lives as a means to help minister to something that we have a need for. So, for example, if you're constantly wearing green, that green is supporting your heart. It's ministering to your heart. So there's something in the heart space that you're looking for that you're asking that color to sort of provide for you. And similarly, if you're repelled by a color, there's something about what that color offers that you're not willing to look at yet, or you're not willing to let sort of come into your awareness. But color is a very strong communicator. So you can use it intentionally. Like if you are going into an interview and you want to feel like people are trusting you, or that you're somebody that's authentic and that they can bring, you know, into the space, then you might want to wear blue, because then you're conveying to them that you are somebody who speaks truthfully and honestly and is somebody trustworthy. So yeah, color is just a really amazing communicator.
So blue is about honesty and trustworthiness when you're wearing blue. Oh, interesting. I feel like the turquoise blue, which I'm totally obsessed with. I wouldn't say it's my favorite color because I just can't choose a favorite color because I just love them all. People say, what's your favorite color? Well, this is nice and this is nice. But the turquoisey aqua blues I'm very drawn to. I really feel like that's the color of transformation for me. I think I've even got the ATP up the top in that turquoisey color. Vladdy says he would have loved to have had someone like you as a childhood friend. Oh, Vladdy. He was one of those strange children too, feeling alone in the world. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us.
We find each other.
You do. Eventually we do. Yeah. What are you saying here? She's love that, Heather. You're getting some love online, don't you?
Thank you, guys.
So the synesthesia, like, let's explore what that is. Like, what exactly is synesthesia?
Yeah, the simplest definition, I think, is that your senses get crossed in your brain. So if you are a Disney Pixar fan, you may have seen the movie Ratatouille, and there's this scene where the mouse Remy is eating a piece of cheese and he's eating a strawberry, and in the screen behind him you see the strawberry is red and swirly and the cheese is yellow and swirly, and they kind of come together. And that's sort of what I would say, like, sound, taste, scent to color looks like for somebody who's a synesthete. There are over 84 different kinds of synesthesia, and about 3 to 4% of the population have a form of it. And if I were to say to you, like, what color is Monday? Then you might, if you come up with something, you probably have a form of synesthesia.
There you go. Yeah, I was saying to Heather before we went live, I think I have some sort of form of synesthesia. When I hear music, I see color.
There you go.
Yeah. And I remember a friend of mine had a small conscious music venue years ago, and I remember I used to frequent it quite often. And you just have to, whether you like the music or don't like the music, my body just has to move to it. Like, I move, my body moves, and I see all these colors. And then I looked at the audience, and they were predominantly younger than me, and they were all dead still, just watching, completely still. And I thought, that's so strange. Why aren't people moving to the music? Like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
I find that really weird. Yeah.
So interesting. I wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a small venue, so it wasn't a huge crowd, but What are you saying here, Alison? Alison says, I find myself wearing the same color as clients. Yes,
Yeah.
that often happens on the show. I'll put on something and the person come on the show and wear it a similar color. I think that happened with Kristen in the last couple of Elevates I've done with Kristen Elevates, another show I do discussing different things. And I invited friends on. We were both in white, almost exactly similar tops we were wearing. It was funny.
Oh, I love that. You're connected.
So synesthesia is something that a lot more of the population have. It's not really a condition like a diagnosis. It's just another way of interpreting the world through our senses, that it's more expanded, I suppose, more advanced.
So. Yeah. There's like I said, there's so many different forms of it. One of them is being able to see auras. And so sometimes I'll see aura around people's heads or bodies. One of them is called mirror touch pain, which is when you hear of somebody who's had some kind of illness or pain, you will feel it somewhere in your body. Or like for me, I'll get a pain that shoots down the backs of my legs. So there's, all kinds, but a lot of artists have it. Kandinsky, who is a visual artist, had synesthesia. So he would paint what he saw, and I do the same sometimes too, but mostly I see it for people when I encounter people.
Well, that's so interesting. What you're talking about at synesthesia, I would have said is just, psychic ability, or like when you expand your field, when you expand your energy field, you start to be able to tune in. And when you hear psychics read people, and I do the same, I read people by feeling their pain in my own body. It's like, and then I'll ask my guides, I'm feeling a tightness in my throat. I'm feeling an upset in my stomach. And I'll say, what's that? And then they'll tell me what's going on for the other person. But as I connect to their field, I start to feel what they feel. So you're calling that synesthesia.
So I have synesthesia, but I also have strongly clairsentient. So I sort of tune into people's emotions as well and sort of get a feel for what might be happening for them. Sometimes it is sort of like putting somebody's energy on like a jacket, and I'll feel in my body what they might be going through or where they might be feeling blocked or stuck. So that's we have that. That's very similar, which is awesome. I'll have to ask you some questions about it.
well, I think empaths, it's being empathic, and a lot of empaths, there's a lot of empaths on the planet now, and they suffer because they feel what other people feel. They feel their emotional body, they feel their pain body, and then they're like, I'm too sensitive, and they suffer for it. But it's actually a tool of healing. Like, you can feel it. So I do it in my sessions, and I'm sure you do too. You can feel it without suffering it. Like if you feel something like, I feel a block or a pain or an itch, or, my stomach feels upset, or I feel like I need to vomit. I once did a thing where, anyway, I won't go into it, but I felt someone's mother dying of cancer. That was something I never wanted to do again. But if you come at it from interest, like, that's interesting, what does that mean? Rather than suffering, I'm feeling this pain, I'm suffering, then it just, as quickly as it comes, it goes, and you're not suffering it from it, which Alison says, what are you saying here? I get pain in my body too for people and can interpret it. Exactly. And Shirley, what are you saying here? I hear how people move about. They make unique musical patterns with their gait.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And Bloody says here, it reminds me of children moving to yes, children do, right? Yeah, it was so weird to be in this small audience of people watching and just seeing them dead still as they're watching it. Like, they were all enjoying it and fast, but no one was moving except me. And I'm thinking I'm the weird one in the room. But yeah, so synesthesia, I think the lines get blurred when we're talking about empathy, psychic ability, synesthesia. It's all sort of, but yeah, I think I had a guy on the show years ago who hit his head when diving into a swimming pool. And when he woke up from his concussion and coma, I think he was in a coma for a while, he started writing music, and he had some form of psychic ability, and I can't remember his story now. It's over a decade ago. He was fascinating. And he and that deaf singer, and oh God, I've forgotten her name, paired up, and they had the most beautiful song. She was a singer, a young girl who went deaf. She had some disease into her death, and she thought her life was over. And then she started feeling the vibration through her feet, and she could sing beautifully and hear his piano through the vibrations of the floor and sing in perfect tune, in perfect timing to him, even though she was completely deaf. So yeah, he'd hit his head on the swimming pool bottom. He woke up with synesthesia and started downloading music, and she's gone, and the two of them paired up, and I can't remember.
Oh my
their names.
gosh, I gotta check that
amazing.
out.
Yeah, I'll find their names in a minute. But they became sort of quite well known because the mainstream news got a hold of them and talked about them, and she became well known. She went on one of the talent shows, America's Got Talents, I don't know, The Voice, and that made her quite famous because he's this deaf singer with perfect pitch. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. But let's get more into your story. So so when did you start utilizing it more for healing?
It was I was working in human resources for a video game company, and I was really unhappy in a lot of different places in my life, and I was kind of kind of tired that no amount of time off was going to help me with, and was working with a spiritual teacher, and she and I were sort of talking about, what were you like as a kid? What were you interested in? What were you curious about? And I really had kind of forgotten. I think part of it for me was that I had sort of spun so far out from that curious, creative kid that I was into this corporate person, that I had really forgotten who I was and what I was here to do and all of that. And so when she mentioned art to me, she was like, your gift is creative expression. You're an artist. I was like, oh my gosh, this light bulb went off, and I thought, all right, that feels good to me. And so one of the things that I started doing at the time was just sort of feeling my way into what felt good, because I didn't really know what felt good to me anymore. But I started painting. When I would do a painting for a specific person, I would see like 1 to 3 colors for them, and those colors would sort of tell me what was going on with that person. And then I would paint their portrait, and my friend called them spirit portraits. And I was like, oh, I like that. And then I would sit with the painting and start to sort of interpret, what is it telling me? And what are the colors saying? And what is the color that's going to be the most healing for them? So it was sort of like a diagnosis of what was happening, and then also a prescription of the color and the messages that were coming through me as I was painting. And then it wasn't long after that I decided that I needed to leave that job to pursue my art making full time. And that was very scary and still is some days, but
I bet. Yeah. Even though the world has, woken up a lot, it's still, reasonably new, and carving out a career with this sort of thing is still challenging, right?
It's not one of those things that you can just put on a business card and say, like, here's who I am. Here's what I do.
Well, it's kind of interesting. Like, I think probably about a decade ago, when people did start expressing who they are more openly on YouTube and podcasts, people were fascinated, and they could gain traction and interest for what they do. But now, a decade later, 2025, there are so many podcast shows and so many people talking about it. It's like, I often think, the world's flooded with the information. Are the clients there seeking it and, matching the people giving it? Like, I don't know. And the guides are saying, as I'm thinking about this, the thought that I've had, that as more and more and more and more people wake up, there will be so much more seeking it than people offering it. They're showing me. But we're in this time now where there's just so many people coming out sort of saying, this is who I am, this is what I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like COVID, a friend sent me a thing about someone that's coming down under who has his own show, mainstream show, and he had a big wake-up call during COVID, and now he's talking to Bruce Lipton about epigenetics and stuff, and he used to talk about, actors and gossip and that sort of stuff before COVID, but he had a big wake-up call. What are you saying here, Diane? Kristen, I can feel when people are high from drugs and alcohol, but I don't have the lower brain capacity that comes with it. Yeah. It's your form of synesthesia.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that too? Can you do that? Feel when people are high and not
No,
necessarily?
I don't think I've ever really, I think I just sort of recognize it, but I don't know that I've ever felt it. I imagine though that the colors of it are like grays and darker gray blues and different shades of that color because you're sort of dampening that energy there. But I agree with you. Oh, what is that one? Is there an overlap?
Desley's saying, is there an overlap between tactile synesthesia and ASMR? What's ASMR? Do you know what that is?
I don't know the actual word for it, but I think it's sort of like the stimulation. Some people like the sounds, it stimulates the brain, I think, through like little sounds like tapping or like tapping a microphone or whispering, things like that. So I don't know. That's a really great question. I imagine that there is. I imagine, yes. Yeah.
And Alison says her cousin hears the music through her feet. Her deaf cousin hears the music through her feet.
Whoa.
I know. It's so cool, huh? So cool.
Wow. That's really cool.
So but do you see auras, like when you look at people, like how does it work for you? I mean, I know you've sort of explained it, but do you see the human energy field with your third eye, with your outside eyes? How's it working for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's sometimes both, honestly. When I was working in corporate, somebody would come into my office and they would stand against the white wall. Then I would start to see color sort of billow out around their heads. And for me, it's probably about like this much. When I started to read people's energies, I typically see that through my third eye. I don't typically see that in the 3D, but I don't often or always see somebody's aura, but if they're standing in front of a white wall, that's when I can see it the most clearly. And that's definitely an area I'd like to expand to be able to see more because it's fascinating. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah. As I said, I've had a couple of people on the show who are aura readers, and I don't see colors around people through my outside eyes. I can see anything I want through my inside eyes, but yeah, I've tried for years, like when I was young, people like to teach you how to see auras, but I was always thinking I was going to see them through my physical eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can blur my vision and see the white line around everything, like the energy field around everything, but I've never seen color through my outside eyes. So it does fascinate me, the people that can do that can see color. Yeah. I mean, when I had Desda on the show, she said that she's depicted what she sees. And I said, do you see everybody like that? She says, yeah. When she looks at them through her physical eyes. And I said, wouldn't that be just really confusing? And she's like, well, it's just who I am and what I've done all my life. So it's not confusing to me. It's just my norm. Yeah. So it's really interesting.
That's kind of cool. I imagine that's hard when you're like in a big area with people. You're seeing all their different colors and everything moving. But I imagine that's probably what's possible for all of us,
Yeah.
At a certain point, which would be awesome.
Yeah. It's a sea of color, like a sea of color. Yeah, it'd be kind of would be a bit like those paintings. You mentioned an artist before, like a lot of the abstract paintings that just are swirls of colors. And what was that artist that you mentioned before that you
Kandinsky?
Yeah. Kandinsky and many of the art. Like that's what some people actually see through their outside eyes. Like what we see as abstract art. It's like, no, that's my reality.
That's so crazy. I love that. That's really cool.
So I see that you've got a podcast show as well. Do you want to talk about why you started the podcast show?
Sure. Yeah. I had been working with a podcast booking agent for a while. And after about 2 years of being a guest on shows, I had a dream that I should start my own show. And I have a lot of really awesome friends who are like, I would say like the Avengers of spirituality, like everybody does something really cool. And so I thought, well, let me just start with them. And I wanted to call it Your Radiant Spirit because I think we're all radiant beings. And what I see for somebody is the radiance that they have the potential for. And so what I started to do was to interview people who are out there doing healing work for people as well, to show everyone that there's so much potential and possibility in healing, supporting, and balancing our lives outside of the human, more in the spirit, and that there were lots of different modalities out there, and you could sort of find the one or multiple ones that work for you. And so now we're in our third season at the moment. I say we, it's just really me, but we're in our third season at the moment. And so I sort of mix it between interviews with people and healers and psychics and people in that sort of spiritual space, and then a mix of my solo episodes where I sort of share musings on color and spirituality and just in general things that I think are kind of interesting in the art world that I'm into.
Yeah, I know a lot of artists who would love to utilize their creativity more for the healing arts. I've had that discussion with quite a few clients over the years. Because we see art as something to enjoy as an entertainment rather than as something as a healing modality. But with your podcast show, getting back to your podcast show, I think it's only on audio, isn't it? It's not on YouTube.
It is, yep.
Yeah, it's an audio podcast. But like using color and art as a way to heal people. So I think we were talking about, before we went on the show, seeing spirit. What was the conversation we had? And you said that you were drawing. Oh yeah, I was talking about Jamie Butler seeing Mr. Crisp when she was doing the interview with Jesus on the other side. And you said that you drew someone else that was deceased, and you drew a transgender.
Did. Yeah, I was painting different portraits for people, like realistic portraits, and I sort of dabbled in that for a little while. And even with pet portraits too, I'll do a pet that's in the colors that I see for the pet too. But in this instance, I ended up painting someone named Lily. There was a movie made about her called The Danish Girl, and after I finished it, I thought,
that's a great movie.
That's who that is. And I have no idea why Lily came through my painting. But I guess she just wanted to be seen. And it was so funny because I had just found that in a stack of paintings the other day, and I picked her up and looked, and I went, oh, this is so interesting. I love this.
Well, let's ask Lily, like, tune into her and ask her. You can do it. Tune into her and ask her, why did she come through? Because there's a synergy here. There's a synchronicity here, because you did it, and then you stopped thinking about it, and then it came to you the other day, and then we were having a conversation about something similar, and now we're talking about it on the show. What is Lily's message?
Oh, I think it's really about acceptance. I have this really strong, I don't know if the word is interest, but spiritual responsibility is very important to me. And I think, it's important for people to recognize that we are so much more than just a human, that we are spiritual beings, and that, and we all have something to offer, and that we're all beautiful. And so I wonder if Lily showed up to remind us to be loving and accepting, and to not be judgmental, and to not to harm someone who is just being themselves, and to just let ours. Oh, I'm getting hot. I'm getting chills. Like, to be unapologetically ourselves.
Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Lily.
Absolutely. Which I thought was the message. I found the person I was speaking about before, who dived into a swimming pool, hit his head and woke up with synesthesia. His name is Derek Amato, Amato. And the deaf singer that he, that's over a decade ago now, I don't think they're together anymore, but he teamed up with to do a few songs with, was Mandy Harvey. One, that for people that are interested, I found it on my website, because me and names, I've spoken to so many people over the years, I always forget people's names. I don't forget people's names anyway. But Alison said her deaf cousin. What else are you saying here, Alison? After my NDE, when people stood against a light-coloured wall, I saw certain colour. Oh, you did around them, but when they moved, it left. Negativity, it left like like a negative, like an imprint of the opposite color on the color wheel. I have seen that, actually,
Alison. It's funny that I've seen that too, actually. That's interesting.
Not around people so much, but sometimes when I'm staring at a color somewhere, the opposite color will pop out. Like there might be a green sign and then a magenta, like a lime green sign, and then a magenta color will sort of pop out. What's that about?
You know what? Truly, 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 that happens to me all the time too, and I haven't figured out yet what that is. So I
Okay.
love that Allison asked it. I love that you said it too, because I'm so curious. I wonder if so I always think of it as a complementary color. And so that's sort of the way that my gift functions too. Like if I see somebody who's in grief, I'll see them as like a blue gray. So the complementary color would be like an orange if you're balancing against that blue. And so orange is actually a color I would recommend to be uplifted and supported and to feel better, to kind of pull you up out of that darker place. So I wonder if it has something to do with the complementary color to that color that you're looking at or something like that. I'm not sure.
It's a bit like she said, it's like seeing the negative. It's like
Mm.
the negative to a video. Like we don't have negatives anymore because we've all got digital cameras. But back in the day when we had negatives to photographs, yeah, the negative was a different color to the photograph was all in color. Yeah, it's weird. But I don't
Wow.
see it around people. It doesn't happen to me around people because I don't see colors around people. But it's when I'm staring at a color like a sign or something, yeah, the opposite color will pop out in the same shape. It's so interesting. But so when I'm staring at a sign, there's no, like the sign doesn't need healing. So I'm just trying to sort of
Yeah.
put it in perspective when you're talking about, like when you see the grave, the opposite color pops out to you because that's the
Yeah.
color that's presenting that could offer healing. But
You know what's coming up for me now is that I think just because everything is energy, yeah, like Allison said, like balancing it out. I wonder if it's just simply balancing that energy, like that energetic impression or signature that's left there, that it sort of offers it like a counterbalance in some way. It's great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Kristen, yeah, that's the great question. Thanks, darling one. Kristen says here, how did your friends and family adjust to you making the change out of the corporate world? Great question, darling one.
I think I shocked the crap out of everybody because I am notoriously the good girl. I think I am a recovering people pleaser, and I think that the reason that I set about on that path of human resources and corporate for so long was stemming from the need to please everybody else and not myself. So,
Yeah.
the last couple of years have been really uncomfortable for me because I'm learning how to establish boundaries where I didn't have them before, where I needed to have challenging conversations with people where I didn't do that before, make decisions for myself that make me happy where I wouldn't have done that before. And so I think my mom had done a psychic reading with someone, and my grandmother came through, and my grandmother said to her, "Wow, Heather's really setting the world on fire, isn't she?" And I think I was kind of like, "Oh God, they're all over there going, what is she doing?" But I wonder, like in my mind, I'm like, they were cheering me on, right? Like, I think they were like, "Yes, go do it. Don't, sit in a place where you're not happy." And so, but it's been a rough couple of years just for me trying to become more of who I am and hope that they accept me for that. Because that's one of my biggest wounds is acceptance too. So I want everybody to like.
Oh, they don't accept you. They don't accept you. I've got a lot of people that don't accept me. And does it worry me? No, because this is how I figure it. We're all going to reemerge. We're all going to end our time here on Earth. What does Belinda call it? Schoolroom Earth. And we're going to reemerge back into the, super intelligent, infinite intelligence of who we are, of who we really are. And we're going to go, oh, drats, I should have been more understanding of who she was instead of judging her for being weird. Like I always see that, My dad died years ago and he didn't get me at all. And I really wanted him to come through after because the ego is kind of like, I wanted to say, see, I told you so, but I did not get that. I just didn't get that communication with him. What I did get was just his smiling face of him just living inside that knowing and just understanding that it's all a play that we're playing. It's all a game. It's all a play. And there's no right or wrong. There's just what you're choosing in the moment. Yeah. And but I love that you say I'm a recovering people pleaser. That's hilarious.
It's
I
so
think that's
true.
hilarious. And as you were talking, I was chatting to the guides about, there's a lot of recovering people pleasers. Like, what's that all about? And this is what they gave me. They said, well, when you're empathic, before someone's even opened their mouth, you know exactly how they feel.
Mm.
And as a being that's trying to create love and balance and peace, you want to create love and balance and peace before someone's even spoken, because you can feel them. And so you're thinking, what can I say that they'll agree with, that'll make them feel peaceful? Instead of getting back to Lily and Mr. Crisp, who showed up for the Jesus interview, standing unabashedly, unembarrassedly, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, Heather, help me out. In who you are. Unapologetically, thank you. Standing in unapologetically who you are, and knowing that regardless of your judgment of me, if you understood who I am more fully, it would really help you on your evolving journey. Recovering people pleaser.
I have to thank you for that message that you just shared too, because I think you might have just spared me 20 years of therapy. I think that, when I was little, you're exactly right. I would walk into a room and I would immediately know what was happening, how somebody felt, why, my mom was grouchy, what she was grouchy about, my dad, whatever. And so I think I spent so much of my life overcompensating for that and anticipating that feeling, that I would adjust my own emotions, feelings, responses, so as not to upset that further. That, holy crap. That.
It is the journey of the empath for sure, which I think comes back to that conversation we were having about, it's 11:11 here, comes back to that conversation we were having about synesthesia being a part of the psychic realm, like empathic, psychic, intuitive, knowing, put it all in the same box, synesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying here, Dave? How can I teach myself to see sound in color? Is this from a form of synesthesia, able to learn how to do that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. For me, doing it just happens. I didn't have to teach myself. What do you say about that, Heather? Can we teach ourselves how to see? Yeah, great question.
Yeah. This is one of the things that I help people tune into when I do therapeutic art with them, because you may not be able to sort of turn synesthesia on, but I think you can use art as a means to pull out your own intuitive insights. And so if you are particularly moved by a song, it'd be really interesting for you to just sit and play and listen to the song and kind of see what colors you reach for, see what shapes come through for you, asking those shapes or colors or sounds what messages they have for you. Where do you feel it in your body? You could really play with that and just kind of tune into what your own inner knowing is offering you through the art making.
Fabulous insights, Heather. Shirley says.
Thank you.
And Mish says, my dad, before he passed, asked me why I was so different to others. I said, I don't know, lol. I'm me. What do they say? We haven't, what's the saying? We haven't come here to be a part of the crowd. We've come here to stand out. No, I'm totally screwing up that saying. But yeah, there is a saying like that. Stand out, don't follow the crowd. Yeah, we're on the precipice of changing times.
Mm-hmm.
And, having done this show, and you've been doing your show for a year or so now, there's a lot of people out there like us, but I still hear this from so many people, especially in America, that they feel completely alone in their understanding and their spiritual journey. Like a lot of people are seeking spirituality through religion, and then other people are seeking it through talking to aliens, expanding their psychic ability, expanding their creativity. And they feel, talking to spirit guides, knowing that angels are with us and all that stuff. And they feel really alone in that conversation. But there are literally millions and millions and millions and millions of people who are into this conversation. Do you feel alone in this conversation now, or have you created a crowd around you doing one?
No, that's a great question. I was just thinking, I think one of the things that has become more and more clear to me recently is the need and desire for community. I think so many people, especially since COVID, have felt really lonely. And I think a lot of people feel like they're languishing in their lives. You know, they're just waking up and sort of slogging through, and they're not quite sure what their purpose or their path is, and who around them understands that and gets that. And I think that's one of the things that delving into my spiritual journey has brought me to, which I'm so thankful for, is a really powerful, supportive community. And that makes all the difference, I think. So everybody who's here tonight listening and commenting, like, what a beautiful, powerful community.
I
that's
know.
here.
It's been almost 2 years since I've been on the network, and I used to record my shows. Do you record your shows?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then edit them and upload them. I
Yeah.
used to be live on radio when I was first on radio for 5 years, and then I started podcasting, and that was recorded. I did a few live shows, but being on a live radio show like this, and it's created a little group of people that turn up, and they all know each other, and they all talk to each other. Like, hi, how are you today? Hi. That's creating community. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that. And also they get to ask questions, which I love, because after like nearly 25, 30 years of asking questions, I kind of run out of questions. So I love that people are
I love that.
with the questions. Here you go. Oh, there you go. Vladdy's saying here, is there anything you feel compelled to share with the world?
Oh,
I think you
wow,
need to be a podcast host, Vladdy.
I know. Oh my gosh, so much. I think there's so much. One of the things that I've been really exploring recently, I talked about spiritual responsibility, and I think that's so important, more so than ever. And I think that shows up in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, like the responsibility to care for your neighbors and your friends and people who don't have enough to eat, right? To feed them, to do all of that. But I also think it's just a means of helping each other and supporting each other. And I just learned the phrase for this. It's called collective effervescence. And it is the phrase, it's a, I guess you have to kind of experience to know if it affects you or not. But like, if I go to, if I'm watching a video about a marathon, I would never run a marathon. It's just not in my nature. But if I'm watching people run a marathon and then I'm watching the people on the sidelines cheering them on, that will make me cry. It will make me cry because there's sort of this collective energy behind the movement of people who are supporting one another. And so that is just such a powerful, I don't know if it's an emotion, but it's a powerful energy. I love it so much. And I think that is what's possible. I think what it makes me think of is that that's possible for the collective to be that loving and to be that supportive and to be that caring. That I wish that happened all the time, but I would probably never stop crying. But I love that. And then there's another thing I've been really looking into called fission. I think it's called fission or fizzon. And it's how art or song or something can just move something in you emotionally, make you have like an emotional response to it. And I wish that more of us were tuned into how we really felt about things. Because I think that so often we just kind of cruise through the day and we don't pause and allow ourselves to really feel what's happening, you know?
That's so true. That's so true. My guides gave me a experience of this because Heather and I were talking before the show, the logic mind versus the intuitive mind or the creative mind. And Heather, like me, is full of questions. She was saying she was full of questions, and she was telling me about exploring the Hebrew texts and going down the path of looking for meaning through the Hebrew words and letters, and because she's got such a curious mind, she wants to know about everything. And I was saying that with my journey, my curious mind awakened me, but it also cut me off from my psychic abilities because I was looking for the answers outside myself instead of inside myself. And my guides kept telling me to stop seeking them outside myself and start to listen. But they gave me this really cool experience because I've still got the logical, curious mind. It's still on tap, helps me be a podcast host, asking a million questions and curious about people. I was editing a show when I used to do the editing before I went live of a singer who was singing the language of light. And I was in my logical mind because I was editing. And then I'm criticizing her as I'm editing, going, oh, she's a bit over the top. Isn't that a bit over the top? And then my guide said to me, stop. They said, go back, quieten your mind, get in your heart, and listen back to what you just heard outside of the logical editing mind. And I said, okay. So I did. And I re-listened to the piece of music or whatever it was. I can't remember if she was speaking or singing at the time, with a different mindset, with the feeling sense rather than the editing head. And I just burst into tears at the beauty of what I was listening to. And they just gave me this, this is the choice we have. We can listen through the critical mind, or we can listen with our hearts, and we have a completely different experience of the same thing. And I'm like, wow. And they just taught me how I do that. I listen with my critical mind, go into judgment and criticism, and then you can listen with your heart and see the message, hear the message, see the beauty. Yeah, it's powerful. And what you were talking about with the people, that spoke to me too, with the people cheering. I've never been a sports fan, but my girlfriend was married to a sports celebrity. She took me to a football game once. I never really wanted to go to a football game, but the power of the crowd cheering for their team was unbelievable. Yeah. It was like, whoa, I didn't know this is what football games were all about. Like, feeling that was just, wow.
Yeah. I painted a piece called The Sound of the Crowd Makes Me Cry.
Right.
Because it really does. I think imagine if you took, it's a football game and it's wonderful and we're all cheering for our teams, but imagine if you took that energy and channeled it into something that could really affect the world energetically.
Yeah.
That would be amazing, right? That'd be amazing to try to get everybody on board.
It would be amazing, because just like my guide showed me, we're all available to the critical mind or the intuitive mind or the loving mind or the, heart-centered mind. It's within all of us, even the empaths and the psychics and all that. But I think with that energy that you're talking about, it exists all over the place, with people cheering for their, we're talking about talent shows but what we do in this third dimensional construct is we pit one against the other. So now there's competition. And as we pit one against the other, we cheer for our team, but we hate the other team. So it engages the passionate mind as well as the critical mind. Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a great insight. I never thought of it that way, but you're exactly right.
Competition.
Exactly right.
And I often think, even cooking shows, a girlfriend of mine's obsessed with, at home. Why do we have to be in a competition when we're cooking food? I just don't get it. I don't get it. But they're huge, these cooking shows. Watching people cook be too boring unless we were pitting one against the other and one was winning and one was losing, one was getting eliminated.
I'm literally watching this show called Next Gen Chef on Netflix, and last night I was like, please don't send Sydney home. He's so sensitive. Don't send him home. Poor Sydney. We were just joking about this too, like the way that the universe supported him, because in the last competition, he had to make an omelet, a French omelet. And he kind of went, like this when he found out. And the judge was like, Sydney, don't get cocky. Don't get cocky, Sydney. And he said, oh no, I spent the first 7 years of my chef career making French omelets. So he was really handed a gift. I was like, thank God Sydney got to make the omelet.
Now you're making me hungry. We have to do a station ID break. Where is it? I've got a little recording here. I think this is it, and we'll get back to our conversation.
You're listening to ATP Media, Awakening and Expanding Consciousness with Karen Swain on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 FM and 105.3 FM, syndicated radio, hitting about 120 countries and streaming on 8 platforms.
And my guest today is Heather Eck, we're talking about synesthesia, psychic ability, color and art as therapy and healing, vibration, consciousness expanding, and more, and cooking shows. pitting one against another to cook an omelette, eliminating one. Like, I have to say, when I was a young child, the whole competition, I never got the competition thing. Like, they would make us run races and compete against each other. And we were doing an egg and spoon race. And I knew I could win this race. I just had a way of holding the egg and spoon where I knew the egg wouldn't fall. Like, I knew I was going to win the race. So I'm screaming ahead. I think I'm about 8 or 9 or 10. And I realized that I'm winning the race. And then I deliberately dropped the egg so that somebody else could win the race.
Oh my gosh.
I just didn't get the whole competing thing. Like, I've never been a competitive person. It seems counterintuitive to be a healer and then to spend 25 years of your life talking to other healers about their work, right? It's like, like we're all in this together. We're not competing against each other.
That's
I don't have a competitive bone in my body. But yeah, when we start to compete, that's when that, like what you were saying, that cheering people on becomes distorted because you want your person to win and not the other person. Yeah, and that distorts that beautiful energy of, what would you call that energy of like rallying for somebody, like cheering for somebody to be successful? Is there a word for that?
I'm not sure. I think that was the collective effervescence was the best phrase I'd ever heard to describe why cheering for someone makes you emotional. I loved that phrase. I thought, oh my gosh, I get it. Because it's a sort of effervescent energy. Yeah.
Hey, Sherry. She's sending love from Newfoundland, Canada. Sherry recently went to the UK, well, probably not recently now, and was expanding her psychic abilities. I'll have to get you on the show to talk about that, darling one. And what Shirley's saying here, I served on a marathon for 18 years, on a something marathon. I ran a water station every year. You didn't, did you, Shirley? Best thing was to close my eyes and listen to the thousands of feet on the pavement arrive, and then they were gone.
Oh, wow.
God, you've done amazing things, Shirley. So I'll tell you what, this woman surprises me. Wow.
That's awesome. I bet that sounded so cool.
And what's Mish saying here? It's a human race. I know, right? The human race. The human race. Exactly. We think that we're racing. We're racing. Yep. All righty. We've got about half an hour left of the show. What else do we want to talk about with synesthesia? Vladdy asked the question, what are you passionate about right now? Anything else you'd like to share with our audience about?
Yeah, I love right now, 2 things are sort of at work in the studio. One is painting what I'm seeing in my Bible study. So if I'm reading about a particular scripture, painting energetically what that looks like for me, which is really fun. So the painting behind me here is really big. It's taller than me. Well, just about taller than me. It's called Communion. So it's about the Last Supper, or the First Communion in the Gospels. So that's been really fun to explore energetically what that looks like. And then the other thing I really love to do with people now is guiding them through therapeutic art journeys. So I like to read somebody's energy, sort of help them see where they're stuck or blocked, and then help them move through an art journey to sort of, discover, excavate, and be able to move that energy out through art and a bunch of other different modalities. So those are the 2 things that I'm like super excited about going into next year, it's exciting to see where that goes.
Yeah, that does sound exciting. I know so many people who who are artists, who want to use that creative flair to help people discover who they are.
Yeah.
And Sherry was saying here, it's the 4th time. Yeah, she's in Canada and she went over to England. 4th time at the Arthur Findlay College.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. Which is a college. It's in an old mansion, actually. It's a bit like the movie X-Men. They have all these kids in this old mansion. I love that movie. And they learn about their, our psychic abilities. Synesthesia being one of them. Yeah, I see that in the future, I don't know if I'll still be alive, that universities will teach this, that there will be big schools teaching about this. It's not in the curriculum at the moment. It's sort of played with, because there are so many teachers coming out, scientists coming out talking about it, near-death experiences, Bruce Lipton, as we were talking about, epigenetics. how he talks about you turn off and on genes according to the vibration that you're holding. So they're talking about vibration and energy and illness and sickness and stuff like that. Like it's being sort of explored. I don't know how much it's being explored in our educational institutions, but
You know what I
that's
just
Mhm.
Oh, you're just reminding me. I was watching, I forget where I saw it, but it was maybe well, I think this is coming more to the forefront now because of podcasts like yours, and there's one out now called the telepathy tapes,
Oh yeah.
where I
Mhm.
mean, amazing. But
Wild.
also, I just saw a podcast. Oh, I know what it was. It was Maya Bialik's breakdown, and she was speaking to
Yep.
somebody who was a former CIA remote viewer.
Mhm.
And she talked about how the US government was training people how to remote view things, and that there was an institute called the MacArthur Institute or something where they were
Yeah.
teaching people this. Yeah.
Yep. Well, absolutely. The government's known about this for years and they've kept it covert. They've kept it secret. It's like they understand the power of psychic ability and remote viewing and astral travel and all that stuff. But are we going to tell people? No. But yeah, all that's coming out. Like disclosure is
Yeah.
happening, is ramping up. It's on an exponential curb. It's ramping up. But disclosure, not just of ETs and UFOs and what we understand as disclosure, but disclosure of who we are as these incredibly powerful psychic beings that we don't understand who we are. But
Yeah.
I think that Buddy's got another question here. I had this beautiful man on the show recently called Andrew Genovese, and he was talking about being frequency holders. And I just loved that word. So when you tune into a frequency and hold that frequency, you don't just do it for your own personal journey, you do it for the collective. But holding the frequency can very much be that visualizing how you want the world to be. Like we were talking about seeing, big mansions all over the place teaching this stuff, like not just one in England or one here or there. Or I think you were talking about the Monroe Institute. Was it the
Yeah,
Monroe
I think that
Institute?
was at Monroe.
But everywhere, as many of these institutions as there are pubs, like on corners, like bars,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
where people can go to learn about who they are. And so as we tune into that vision, we become the frequency holders of that reality. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. Yeah, I think it is becoming more and more mainstream. Like I think about organizations like the Forever Family organization that helps to certify psychic mediums to help people connect with their loved ones who've crossed over and things. So there's lots of different places that are, I think, starting to teach and validate this stuff, which is really cool. So I'm hoping that more and more people do that in the coming
Exactly.
years. Yeah.
I mean, I love watching shows like Maya Bialik because she, started talking about psychology and physics and then maybe last year or this year she started diving down the rabbit hole, and she's had what's that channeler with the Z's? What's his
Oh,
name? Lee Harris on,
Mhm.
and like she's really going there and expanding her reality, but she's taking her audience with her. She's somebody who's famous, being
Yeah,
an actress. I love watching that stuff.
me
And then,
too. I keep tuning into her shows because she's really going there, and I'm like,
yeah,
yes,
go girl.
I know,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
yeah. And also Jimmy Dawes. What was Brad? Brad sent me a message this morning. The guy interviewing Bruce Lipton. As I said, he had a normal sort of Tonight Show type show, and now he's talking about it. Jimmy Dawes, the Jimmy Dawes show, and he had his massive wake up during COVID. Yeah, that's just it's really exciting to watch the
That's
expansion of
cool.
consciousness. What are you
Yeah.
saying here, Jane? One, I have question. Have you tried, from Vladdy, seeing your friends color over long distance and maybe interacting with
Mm,
the colors? Interesting question.
that's a really great question. I usually, I have tried that actually. I haven't tried interacting with the colors, more so just reading the colors. I had a friend whose uh, stepdad was nearly close to crossing over, and she asked me to read his colors so I could get a feel for what he might be going through. And so I sort of explained what I saw for him and uh, gave her some perspective on that, but I didn't interact with them. And I'm curious how I might do that. Thank you, Vladdy. That's a really great question. I'll have to play with that a little bit and see. That's a really great question. Thank you for that.
Yeah, what I ask people to do when I ask them to visualize the energy field of people who they want to help,
Uh-huh.
I ask them to see what they're seeing, whether they, with their third eye, like where
Mhm.
do you see darkness? Where do you see shadow in their energy
Yeah.
field? And then put some light into it. But the thing is that, as I said to you before, the curious mind had me seeking, but then getting connected to the infinite intelligence of the cosmos, they've got the answers. It's like Google of the cosmos. So
Yeah.
what you see, you can still ask them to tell you what is needed. And that's how I work. Rather than needing to study and figure it out, I just ask them. So what color would be the best for what I'm seeing? And then visualize, like ask the mob, ask the guides, and then visualize that color. Sometimes white light, sometimes gold light, sometimes green, whatever color comes to your first thought. And I don't know, is that a way of interacting with the color? I don't know. Is that what you mean by
Yeah, I
interaction?
think so. I think I'm learning so much from you tonight too, because I, when I look back at my early corporate career, I was definitely a certification chaser. I was looking for validation outside to tell me that I was acceptable in certain areas. And so, like hearing you say that makes me go, oh, I don't have to seek that certification. I just have to sort of look for it. In my, and I just saw Vladdy's comment too, and now I'm like, oh my. I
What,
just
this
have to
one?
sort of look for it in here, in my consciousness. You're blowing my mind tonight. Yes, thank you. That
Well,
felt like a new direction.
you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on to the mob, to the guides, to the infinite intelligence of the universe. So yeah, all the answers are within. That was one of my biggest lessons as a young seeker. As I said, I was saying to Heather before, when Brandon was on the show, we were talking about us answering you doesn't enlighten the world. It's your questions that enlighten the world. Like your questions summon the energy, summon the power, summon the answers. But once you've got the answers, then we're waiting for your next question. So the questions are important, but then seeking the questions from outside yourself says, I don't have access to the questions. So it's like you're limiting yourself. Whereas when you understand that you have access to infinite intelligence, you can ask the questions and then tap into that intelligence and bring it through, either through your art, your healing, your words, music. There's a million ways we can bring it through, right? What's Sherry saying here? Oh, I've lost you, Sherry. There you go. I've played with color a lot. You can ask your friend's soul for, what's that say?
A few.
Oh, a few top colors, and to read the person from that. Oh, I see. You can ask your friend's soul friend or person that you're reading for a few top colors. Yeah. And I guess that is that Tamish? Oh yeah. I found that each color has a vibration. So my glasses aren't working. I'm getting blinder. These glasses aren't working anymore. I have to put stronger glasses on. Can you read it for me?
Oh, yeah. I found that each color has a variation. So depending on the exact color of red makes me feel something different. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
It's like a box of crayons and you get different shades and each shade gives you something different. Yeah.
No, I'm just as blind with those glasses on as I am with them.
Have to try to make the text bigger.
Yeah, that's true. I could do that.
These are such great questions and such great perspectives. I am really enjoying the conversation because I feel like I'm learning a lot. I'm taking a lot away from this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that. That's so great. Thank you guys.
Well, that's nice to know. That's very nice to know. Yeah. As I say, we've explored color a lot this year on the show with different people. And I think that we forget how powerful color is. And a lot of us do it subconsciously. We're not even aware that we're putting different color. We're attracted to different colors because of our psyche at the time. What do you want to say about that? Are you itching to say something?
Oh yeah, no. I was just thinking that one of the things that we ask each other all the time when we're kids are, what is your favorite color?
Yeah, right.
Like our kids are so beautiful because they're they have no ego. They're so tuned in, and they are just kind of aware of stuff. And so they're like, what's your favorite color? And color tells so much about a person. And we decorate our homes with particular colors, and we choose cars that have a particular color. We put it in our offices. And one of the things I've been paying attention to the last couple of years has been, what is the color of the year through Pantone or Sherwin-Williams or what have you, because the color that comes out that year, I think, says something about the collective and the direction that the collective is moving in. So during COVID, the two colors of the year were yellow and gray.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh boy, yellow is signaling a huge identity shift, and the gray is signaling lack. And so, and balance. And so there was lots of different definitions there, but I thought, well, that's so interesting. When you look at 2020, what was happening with so many of us, there was the great resignation. People were changing jobs. People were waking up. A lot of people exited. You know, and then the gray there was so signaling like a lack of things. Like we didn't have what we thought we needed. We tried to be supportive of each other, but there was also a lot of negative energy happening there too. So it was just interesting to look at that. And the color of the year for 2025 is from Sherwin-Williams. Pantone hasn't released it yet, but it is khaki. And khaki.
I love the way you say it. Down under we say khaki. Khaki.
Oh, yeah.
Your khaki pants. The word khaki in Australian, when you say something's khaki, it's like yucky, icky, awful. Like to say, oh, that's khaki. It's like yucky, icky, awful. But yeah, khaki.
Yeah, like
khaki,
safari.
which is like an olivey green color. Like I like the color of khaki.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an olivey green color, and that's the color for 2025. Ooh, and what does all that mean?
So it's like it's a neutral color. It kind of goes with everything. It's like the color of the sand at the beach, so it's very grounding. But I think it's also signaling like a direction, a movement back to basics. And I imagine that for 2026, we're going to see a lot of that, like stripping away, getting back to basics, sort of looking at what do you need, not necessarily what do you want, but what do you need to have in order to just be in like survival mode a little bit. An adventure mission. Yeah. Safari adventure. Yeah. Blending in, not making yourself stand out in any way, just sort of kind of being party to the group.
For me, it's often green. I always said that I wanted to have a beautiful candy, which meant the green candy. Oh, that's from Bloody. So collective learning and
effervescence.
Like safari, adventure, and adventure. So so this year was khaki. And what did you say next year was 2026?
So actually 2026 is khaki. That's the Sherwin-Williams color. That's like the paint color.
And what was this year again? Forgotten already.
I think it was moose. I think it was brown. So another grounding color.
Oh, okay. Moose.
But I don't know how it is in Australia for home colors, but here in the US, we saw a lot of color get taken out of houses as a trend. Everything trended towards whites and light grays and a lot of neutrals.
And so that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. I live in a townhouse complex, which is yellow. It's 30 years old, so it's pretty hideous. Yeah, and we're turning it into black and white.
Oh,
black and white. Yeah, taking the color off. Yeah, but when you go inside the house, my house is full of color, but I actually love the black and white, and I love the green of the garden next to the black. Like it's. I feel like the house shouldn't stand out as a statement piece, but it should be a background color to showcase the greenery of the garden, so to speak. Or but it's beautiful. Interesting. You're absolutely right. I was talking about this with the person doing the building. Back in the 80s, peach or a salmon color, like all the houses were painted a similar, a bit lighter than your top that you're wearing, that sort of peachy color. And what does that color mean from your perspective?
The one that I'm wearing now?
Yeah, like a peachy salmon color.
Yeah, it supports the sacral chakra and the heart chakra. So it supports both the energy of higher love and also of creativity, expression, emotions, and relationships. So it's a good color
Nice.
to kind of balance the heart.
Nice. And then probably around the time that this, probably 90s, a lot of buildings were yellow or pale yellow,
Mhm.
like that pale, like off-white, but with a yellow tinge to
Tinge
it.
to it, yeah.
What do you think that was like? What was going on in the 90s when buildings were being painted like that?
That's a great question. I think yellow for me is always about our sense of identity and
Mhm.
our sense of like worthiness and how we want to show up in the world, how we want to be seen, and how we want others to see us. It can be a very neutral color too, but yeah, it's kind of like a blah color. It doesn't really have a lot to offer. It sort of tucks away and stays a little bit unnoticed. I would say it's not like a glaring, bright, sunshiny sunflower yellow. It's still it's
The
kind of
pale
soothing.
yellow is a
Yeah,
blah color. And
yeah.
they painted the interior, because this was painted a few years ago, and again it was off-white, but it was that yellow off-white. And when they painted it more of a white off-white, it was more of a beige off-white, it just brought the whole energy up. Like the pale yellowy color sort of brought it down. It
Brought
was
it
interesting
down.
because
Yeah.
yellow is such a vibrant color, but when you
Mhm.
pale it down, yeah, it's really interesting. But
Mhm.
the color of this building is quite a deep sort of mustardy yellow. It's not a pale yellow, like it
Yeah.
stands out, but it's old and got mold all over it, and it just needs a paint job. Yeah, but it's going black and white, taking the color out. It's so interesting.
I love
Yeah.
that. Have you asked what is bringing those colors to you? Like, asked your guides why you're bringing in the black and the white?
It's so interesting because I just wanted to make it simple and just simple. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then I looked at new builds around the neighborhood, and all the new builds that have just been finished are all black and white. And I
Uh-huh.
was saying to the girl who was part of the team, the builders team, I said, maybe I was just tuning into the collective unconscious.
Mhm.
Because everything's black and it looks really smart. So it's got the black and white building, like black fences, white walls, and then the
Mhm.
greenery of the garden. I think it looks really crisp and smart and new
Yeah.
and fresh.
It's a
Yeah, and then
striking color palette for sure.
and it showcases like when you have flowers, then the color of the flowers pop, and the color of
Yeah.
the greenery pops. It sort of doesn't overtake the nature that you put around it. That's what I think, anyway. But yeah, I
I
think I
love
was
that.
just tuning into the collective unconscious because everyone's doing the black
Mhm.
and white. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize everyone, because I knew I
Yeah.
liked it. I just didn't realize everybody else liked it too. So yeah, I was tuning into something. The color of 2025 building, and then I don't know, in another decade it'll be something else. But
It'll
you're
be
so
something
right
else, yeah.
about it's same with homewares too, because that was a job I did before I started doing this, was interior design. And I've always been big on color. I opened a homeware shop and painted every wall a different color. And
Mhm.
people, and it was back in the 90s, so it was that stippled look. And people loved it because no one
Yeah.
was playing with so much color on the interior. They just loved it. And I had a client that said, can you turn my house into the beauty of your shop? And when I talked about putting all this color in her house, she freaked out and couldn't do it. Like, she loved it in the shop, but she couldn't do it in her house.
Yeah. I
It
get
was
that.
weird. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, living with
I had
color.
a I have a friend who's got 2 little boys, and one of them was having a really hard time sleeping and,
Mhm.
like, wasn't able to, like, go to bed or was having a hard time at school, and I was like, "Wait, what color is his bedroom?" And she said, "Well, it's, like, gray, but then he has an orange wall." And I was like, "Does the orange wall face him at night?" And his bed faced the orange wall, and I was like, "Oh, girl, that orange is, like, exciting him, creates hunger, it creates movement, it creates action." I was like, "How do you feel about a soft blue?" Then we went
Yeah.
in and painted that wall for her, and I mean, it didn't fix all of the things that were happening, but it certainly brought the energy of that space down to a more soothing level so that it was a place where he could relax and not
Rest.
feel so, like,
Yeah,
keyed up all the time, you know?
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Well, I think people have spoken about that with healing rooms, hospitals, people that are mentally in unrest, like painting the walls a
Mhm.
pale pink. That helps them
Soft
feel
colors.
soft colors, helps them feel
Mhm.
calmer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can use it all the time. It's such an important element in our lives, the vibration
it
of
is.
color.
Yeah,
Because each
it is.
color just represents a different vibration, right? It's an interpretation of vibration that we're
Yeah.
perceiving.
And you know what's really fun too? If you are curious about what your spirit's been communicating to you, you can look at your laundry from the week before. Look at what you wore. Look at it. Look at what's in your laundry basket. What color did you wear the most of last week? And it'll really give you some perspective on sort of where you are and what you're trying to bring in to find balance and support. So I know, like, if I am going through a hard time or my back hurts or I'm just feeling really conflicted or confused about something, I can look at my laundry, and I've worn black almost every day that week.
Mish is laughing. Ha ha ha, black.
Black.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. What time is it? What have we got left? 10 minutes. I was just about to say something and it's dropped out of my head. You were talking about wearing colors. No, it's dropped out of my head. It'll come back. No, dropped out of my head. Oh, I was just about to say something. It's dropped out of my head. But anyway,
all right.
maybe expand on that thought while I'm trying to get it back. I just looked at, I
Yeah.
started laughing at Mish's thing and it dropped out of my head.
Black.
Yeah.
I went through my laundry a couple weeks ago. I even posted it in my stories on Instagram too, because it was so funny to me. Everything that I had worn was horizontal stripes. Everything in
Interesting.
every color. And horizontal
I
stripes
wear-
are all about
I wear-
surrender.
Are they? I wear a lot of horizontal stripes, which they say, because I'm overweight, they say fat people shouldn't do, but I love horizontal stripes. Like, you're fat, you shouldn't wear horizontal stripes.
Oh, you wear what you love, you know. But I'm same.
And it's
I
about
love horizontal
surrender.
stripes.
And what about vertical stripes? What are vertical stripes about?
Ascension.
Oh, ascension. Well, there you go, because
Yeah.
we're changing the balustrades and I'm making them all just vertical, black vertical poles. Yeah.
Oh,
it's about
cool.
ascension. So we're going to, I'm turning the house into a rocket ship. We're going to blast off. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that's the question I was going to ask you before. What about people that are just not into color at all? It's all beige, like everything in their house is beige and soft, sort of creamy tones, beige, maybe grays, and they wear all gray or cream or beige. What is that saying about them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it depends on the person and the color that they're wearing. But, you know, like you see in the media, there's a woman in New York who her entire apartment is pink. All she wears is pink. She paints her dog pink, like everything is pink, right? Like, I think that's somebody whose pendulum has swung so far that they are really, really looking for whatever it is that that color offers. So in pink, for instance, it would be all about love. Like they're looking for the higher love, spiritual love. There's something going on with them where energetically they don't feel like they're supported or provided for or something. They're looking to bring that love to themselves, and they are broadcasting that to everybody.
Wow. Yeah. I think the colors we're wearing are our vibrational broadcast, right? We're broadcasting through what we're choosing to put on our bodies. Yeah.
For sure. And what's
Yeah.
interesting too is that like I'm wearing this color for me, but I'm also communicating it to you. And the beautiful blues and whites that you're wearing tonight, you're communicating to my spirit too. So we're always communicating to each other. Like when you show up for lunch to meet a friend and you're both wearing the same color, you wore it for each other.
So I have to say that the sort of soft, sort of creamy wheat color, gray, soft gray colors, those beigey tones, it feels to me like it's quite chic. It's quite a chic sort of look.
Very
But if
much,
you're
yeah.
wearing it all the time without any color at all, Vladdy says here, what about people who don't wear anything other than black? What's happening with these people that are not putting color on or
Yeah.
even in their home environment?
It's interesting because I think in a lot of ways there's something going on with that person spiritually or energetically that they are in full-on protective mode.
Right.
There's some aspect of themselves that they're hiding. There could be
Makes
trauma
sense.
that they haven't explored. There could be something where they just don't want to be seen. I mean, it could, you know, black is also a beautiful color of sophistication and wealth and royalty and mystery. And so in some ways it's sort of like you are protecting your energy from those things, but also sort of trying to attract that energy to yourself as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I was young, going out to the disco, to the nightclub, I felt safer wearing black. I felt protected.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I had some power that I didn't have, say,
Superpower.
if I was in white. Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was coming from an insecurity, not rather than a security, you know, like I
Yeah.
needed to put that black on because I needed to feel powerful because I didn't feel powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was definitely coming from an insecurity. So probably people that wear black all the time, because you look around the city when you go into the city environment, everyone's in suits. They're in like, black, gray, or like a dark blue. There's not a lot of color in that sort of officey
No.
environment.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then someone will have a red jacket on, they'll stand out like a,
Like a
sore
sore
thumb.
thumb. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or
That's
there'll be a
exactly
woman
right.
with a green shirt on, she'll stand out. Yeah. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of color in that sort of corporate world. Oh, I'm
Mm-mm.
missing all your comments. What are you saying here? What's Matt saying here? Or people
Red and
wear
black.
red and black combination.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's somebody who's
Hunger.
in
Yeah,
their
sorry, go.
root. Yeah.
In their root chakra,
Mhm. They're looking
feeling,
for stability
looking for stability.
and strength. Yeah. I think the red and the black are strongly connected there too. Yeah. Is there a
Kristen wants
resource?
to know, is there a resource I can learn about the colors for my house and what I wear, like in the way Heather is talking about? Do you
Mhm.
have a book about it or anything like that, or a
I'm
resource?
working on a book about it now. I have a guide on my website that is more connected to energetically what's going on in the body. And this question made me laugh too. But I think if you go to heatherack.com/thank you, it's there, and it's a PDF you can download that'll tell you some color meanings and things like that.
Oh, nice. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, Mish said here, what did she said here, we were laughing at before. I have to remember because people can't see what we're seeing it because they're on
Yeah.
radio. I can wear bright colored knickers and then the rest black.
Yes, you can.
You're smiling on the inside, darling. Smiling on the inside. When I get dressed, I'm always drawn to a particular color or combo of colors
Mm.
with a t-shirt and then thin fleece, purple, forest green, turquoise, maroon, orange,
Ooh.
pink, etc. Colors speak to me,
Ooh, I love
Susan.
that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. You sound very
And
stylish.
oh yeah, Sherry's laughing at Sherry's laughing at a lot of these people. I know, and I know what they look like. But do I know what you look like, Susan? I'm not sure if I know what you look like, what you wear. That line lines up with my roommate. He can be a killing machine and fears this side of him that he may not be able to regain consciousness in a fight before it's too late. When you say killing machine, do you mean like on games and maybe your flatmate's wearing black all the time?
Yeah, I
Interesting.
wonder if that's it. Yeah.
I reckon people that put a lot of black on are really insecure, because I just remember when I wore a lot of black, I was insecure. But I love wearing black today. I still wear a lot of black in winter.
Yeah.
I don't love putting it on so much these days. I've got this black sweat hoodie thing that I put on, and I often feel like it's heavy.
Yeah.
I'm moving away. Yeah, moving away from black, but I used to wear a lot of black. Yeah, giggles. We're running out of time. 3 minutes to go. Darling one, it's been such a joy. I love you. You're a cat. So just remember, and I love what you're doing. And just remind people where they can find your podcast. Let me just share the screen. I'll share your Heather. Here we go. Share your website with people. So your website is Heather Eck. Eck is spelled ECK.com. And this is your Radiant Spirit. Is your podcast show.
That's right.
Where you have lots of conscious conversations with people. It's an audio only podcast show. And anything you want to say before we go?
Thank you so much for having me tonight. I loved interacting with your wonderful community. And if you are curious about where color can take you, I'd love for you to connect with me on Instagram. You can find me there at Heather Eck Artist, and just message me that you were on the show tonight, and I'd love to give you a free color reading and share what I see for you.
That's beautiful. Oh, that's very generous. Thank you for that, for doing that for my audience.
Absolutely.
And thank you, gorgeous one, for being on the show. It's been a joy and a pleasure.
I had so much fun. Thank you.
And I just want to remind people too that on Elevate this week, the gorgeous Kristen Miss Mash is joining me, and we're going to talk near-death experiences. So we're going to talk about what they mean. A lot of people think that when somebody dies and goes to the other side, that's the meaning to life after death. But, you know, they're so tailored to each and every person. So we're going to talk about that with Kristen on Elevate this coming Wednesday evening, afternoon in the States, Thursday morning down under. So the clock's changed in the States over the weekend, and now my show is in Australia. It's at 10:30 ATP on a Monday morning down under, and it will be at 10 a.m. Down under on Thursday mornings, the Elevate show. But which means I can sleep in. Actually, I get up so ready to go, and having all this time before I start the live shows, I'm sort of like, I'm sort of twiddling my thumbs. Oh, what will I do now? I'm not used to having all this time, but the clock's changed. But it's thank you everybody for your gorgeous comments and everything. I love you. You're a fabulous audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Vladdy. Vladdy, you have to start your own podcast show. You've got the best questions. Sherry, Shirley, Mish, Heidi, Susan, all the regulars, and we've had a few people I haven't seen there before. Matt, a couple of fellas. Yeah, thanks everybody. You are a blessing, and thanks again, Heidi. God, Heather. Big love.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.